I'm your host, El Grundo Gate, the big cat. Look on the pearl. Listen, today we're going to be talking about a very sensitive subject. Is Cam Newton too immature to be NFL quarterback? Let's talk about it. But before we get started, you know how this thing go. One quick question. Do you love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers? Yes? No? Maybe? Do you love the Carolina Panthers? If you love the Carolina Panthers, give me the dab. That's right, we're going to give me the dab. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about Cam, man. We're going to find out whether or not he's too immature to play this quarterback position. But before I can actually give you the answer, yes or no, we got to find out why is he being criticized or scrutinized for being Cam. Let's get into it. Cam Newton has a big personality. He's very expressive. He's very open. And a lot of people take that expressiveness, his openness, his confidence as arrogant, cocky, disrespectful, bad teammate. You see how easy it is to flip that. But it's really you. You right there. The fucking hater in the back. You. It's you that gives him a bad name. Because you say, you know what? They're losing, or Cam Newton. They lost because of Cam Newton. What he wore. Yeah, what he dressed. Yeah. Because he had on leggings and the high heels. They lost because of that shit. Really? Really? You have no jack shit clue of what the fuck you're talking about. Alright? And I'm gonna explain to you today on Keep Pilot TV. So the number one reason why Cam Newton is being scrutinized is because he's playing the number one criticized position in the world, which is quarterback. No other position in any sport is heavily criticized like the quarterback. Dating back to the early football years, the quarterback position has been played in a certain style. Drop back, find the open guy. Now, I believe Cam Newton is criticized because he has went away from this style. Not only him, he wasn't the first one to do it. You have Randall Cunningham. Like I said, you have so many other African-American quarterbacks. Not just African-American, you also have Caucasians out there that have went away from it. But Cam Newton really puts it into perspective with the modern day style of run first, throw second, 50% run, 50% pass. And I think a lot of people hate when he has success that way. A lot of people look at him and say he should be failing with that recipe. Because dating back to the early years, it wasn't working like that. It shouldn't have worked like that. So they criticize his playing style. I'm going to tell you this though. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Let's be honest about it. If I could tell you your team's going to win with a quarterback who passes half the time, runs the other half, or a guy who sits back in the pocket and throws for 100 touchdowns, if I told you both of them were going to win, would you give a shit who you had? I personally don't. So I think that's one of the reasons why he gets scrutinized. Another reason why Cam Newton is targeted is because of his attire. A lot of people look at the way he dressed and they look at him as a fucking clown. Let's just be honest. Let's just keep it 100. They look at him as a clown. They look at him as somebody who's metrosexual or even homosexual. And by the way, he has not came out and ever claimed to be. So we need to knock it off with that shit. But let me tell you something. Cam Newton has a personality, man. He has a huge fucking personality. Real big personality. He's very expressive. He's very open. To wear what he wears and not give a shit when nobody thinks, you have to be really comfortable in yourself. And a lot of people see that confidence in him and they try to make it a big deal. Oh, he's too arrogant. Look at him causing distraction. If you weren't his tax bracket and I could afford the name brand Manola Blahniks and shit like that, I promise you'll be wearing it too. Or you know what I mean? Or at least a variation of it. So his attire has nothing to do with how he's a leader or how he reacts with the team. So last but not least, we're going to talk about Cam Newton's off the field antics. Now this is kind of a gray line because some of the things he's done off the field I agree with. Some of the things off the field, like I said, is a gray line. So I'm going to show you 4 clips that have been in the media and we're going to talk about whether it's immature or it's not immature. This first clip is Cam Newton coming off the Super Bowl loss, okay? My man's in a press conference and literally right next door is the winning team, the Denver Broncos, and they're talking about how, yeah, that was the game plan for us to make him throw. Now, you just played one of the shittiest games ever on the biggest stage, and you got somebody right behind you. Let's take a look at his reaction, what happened, and I see, is it immature or is it not immature? I have no problem with him getting up and walk away. I absolutely agree with what he did. It's either get your ass up, walk away, or start flipping over tables, knocking over billboards and shit. A lot of people, they push Cam Newton's button. Like I said, Cam Newton's very expressive, very open. And when you're expressive, when you're open, when you're confident, you're also sensitive. Okay? And I don't mean that out of no disrespect. I mean sensitive in far as, you know, when people come at you. I believe that's the reason why a lot of people say when they meet Cam Newton in person, he kind of shy away, or he doesn't really want to speak to people unless there's a camera around. I think, you know, people have talked so much shit upon him and done so much shit to try to make him look bad or evil. At some point, you literally just gotta shut it down, you know, just keep it moving, you know what I mean? So this right here is one of the things where they see my man's upset, they just played a shitty game, and you're sitting here talking shit upon him. So yeah, I would have did the same thing. It's not immature. So this next clip that I'm about to show you is Cam Newton at his camp. He's having a little camp for kids or whatever, and they're making fun of him for not diving on the ball at the Super Bowl. We're gonna find out whether this was immature or can my man have handled this a better way.
Yeah. I'm playing off right away. What? Oh, no. What happened in the Super Bowl?
This is the immature moment. You got some ungrateful ass kids, first of all. He could have easily got those kids removed from camp. They're not appreciative, they're ungrateful, and they're messing with you. But you gotta understand, as a grown man, as a quarterback of an NFL team, you cannot be on fucking YouTube. Everybody trying to be Insta famous, YouTube famous. You can't be on that bitch talking about, oh, what you gonna do? You bracing up at a fucking kid, bro. Come on, man. I know that shit pissed you off because it pissed me off. I threw everybody out of my house during a Super Bowl party I had. But you gotta understand, let me get some security guys, get him out of here because he's ungrateful. Or use this as a teachable moment. Pull a man aside and say, look, man, I'm trying to do y'all guys a favor. You're making it very difficult. If you're not appreciative, then I'll leave, or you can leave. But this right here will push you in the bad light, because guess what they see? They don't see the kid fucking with you, because nobody gives a shit about the kid as far as who he is. They give a shit about who you are. And you up in the face dogging him like that, hey bro, could have been a better way. This next clip is the infamous Kelvin Benjamin clip. You already know how this thing go. I'm gonna show it to you right here, man. Let's take a look at it. Again, I'm gonna have to say this is another immature moment for Cam Newton. Yes, I know he didn't start this shit. Okay, I get that. Kelvin Benjamin was running his cocksucker, and yes, it really shows how much of a clown he is for even going to the media. Let me tell you something. In the NFL, there's a lot of players who have played with players they don't like, but it's an unwritten rule. You don't come out to the media and talk about it. So yeah, if anything, Kelvin Benjamin is a clown. But back to what Cam Newton did that made this situation immature. When you got a guy like this, you know, like I just said, there's Insta cameras around, Instagram, Snapchat. Everybody's around watching you. Everybody knows that y'all been beefing all week, all day long, whatever you want to say. When you meet that guy, you don't need to be doing it out in a public setting. If you want to approach him, you get your bodyguard, he get his bodyguard. Y'all go into a training room during the preseason game and talk. You don't come out here. If you look, you see my man got his arm behind his back. That's ass whooping style, okay? Every nigga in the hood know when a nigga put his arms like that, beware for the sneak attack. So, again, if Kelvin Benjamin would have escalated, what would happen if Kelvin Benjamin would have dome checked his ass? Do you really think he would have had enough self-control to keep himself under wraps? I don't think so. I think my man would have just right crossed his ass out. But this is one of the things, like I said, the better way you could have handled it. Take it to the locker room, or meet after the game, or go to a hotel, go to a private room with you and your bodyguard and talk that shit out. And if you don't want to talk, piece it out. You let it be what it be, okay? So last but not least, we're gonna talk about the female reporter incident. I really feel like this shit was blown out of proportion.
And getting those extra yards. Does that give you a little bit of an enjoyment to see him kind of truck sticking people out there?
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes, like, it's funny.
Now, I find no offense to what he said, none whatsoever. My man was simply saying that it impressed him to see a female know so much about football. But with this women's rights, activist rights and shit like that, everybody's fucking sensitive now. Everybody's so super fucking sensitive. That's like me going into Lane Bryant's and I'm saying, I like that dress right there. It has a pop of color with a B cup, with a waist trainer liner, and it makes my symmetrical chest. You're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe a man knows that. That's all it was. He was surprised, okay? Now it came across because he laughed or smiled as like, you know, this bitch don't know what she's talking about. Wow, I can't believe it, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like that. Again, people like to fuck with Cam Newton's head. They like to take advantage of his emotion. They know he's very expressive, he's very open. One thing they know, if they can get Cam Newton talking and get him real loose and cool out, something's gonna come out so where they can put it in the newspaper or put it on YouTube. Oh, Cam Newton does this, Cam Newton do that, all right? And that's not fair, it's very manipulative. So to wrap this thing up, man, I get it. Cam Newton's a very lovable guy, very fun, wholesome guy, but there's some things that he needs to work on, as we all do. One thing I must say is he does a lot of playing, he does a lot of enjoying, you know, just drawing around being silly. And I can see where in some cases that can get on people's nerves. You gotta understand, we're fans of the NFL. But the people that actually play for these teams, it's a job to them. So imagine somebody come to your job and they're doing an airplane move and dabbing and all that shit. You got some people that, look, man, is it 3 o'clock yet? I wanna go home, I got my wife, I got my kids at home, yada, yada, yada. So I get that shit. Sometimes that can become a distraction. So at the end of the day, I can clearly tell you that Cam Newton is not immature. He's very expressive, he's very open. And a lot of people, like I just said it earlier, they take that openness, they take that expressiveness, and they take that sensitivity, and they poke the bear. And we all know what happened when you poke the bear. That bitch stand up, and he lunges at your ass. As soon as you lunge at him, tweet, 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 Instagram, Instagram, Instagram. Now you want to make a show out of it. So, no, he's not immature. He's sensitive. He's emotional. He's very expressive. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. That's just who he is. So you either got to come to terms with it or just get the fuck out the way. Get in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Did I get this shit right? Or am I tripping? I'm your host, El Grundo Gate, the big cat. Look on the pearl.